بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أحب أرحب بالزملاء الحضور. أحب أبدأ بنفسي. بعض الموجودين طبعا عارفيني، وممكن بعض الموجودين يكونوا لسه أول مرة يشوفوني. أنا اسمي أحمد النقيب، بعمل في شركة فينيكسوس. فينيكسوس دي the business partner for Swift for Middle East and Europe and غرب آسيا. عندي مجال كبير في السويفت مع مجموعة من البنوك اللي فاتت more than about 20 years. فينيكسوس دي بتشارك العمل من سويفت على بتبدأ العمل من سويفت في الميدل ايست، في زي ما قلت في تركيا، ده الهيد كوارتر بتاعنا، وفتحه موجود فرع في دبي، ده فرع كبير بيغطي المنطقه بتاعت الجلف، وحاليا فتحوا فرع في دوحه. والشركه بصراحه قررت انها تبدا تكبر العمل بتاعها وتبدا في القاهره وشمال افريقيا. احنا لسه بادئين حالا، بقالنا حوالي 3 شهور بس. وده اول ويب بانر نعمله للبنوك هنا في مصر، ويسعدني ان انا اقدم طبعا الشركه بتاعتنا هنا للبنوك. وان احنا النهارده بنغطي جزئين مهمين جدا. الجزء الاولاني اللي هو الايزو 20022، وده ان شاء الله هيبدا اوفيشالي مع سويفت من نوفمبر 22. وعندنا الجزء الثاني السويفت سي اس بي او الكاستمر سكيورتي بروجرام، ودي بالشراكه مع شركه سكيور واي، دي البارتنر بتاعنا. بنغطي المنطقه بتاعت يوروب والميدل ايست وافريكا في السوليوشن بتاع السي اس بي. زي ما كلنا عارفين ان احنا سويفت متطلب شويه اجراءات امنيه بنبداها بقالها 2 أو 3 سنين، بس بدايه من 2022 لازم يكون في سيرت بارتي او شركه خارجيه هي اللي بتقيم الموضوع ده للبنك، وهي اللي بتقدمه لسويفت. فده موضوع الندوه بتاعتنا النهارده، وانا يسعدني ان انا اقدم مديري وزميلي في الشركه مستر سركان. Here are talking about the ISO 22222, and we are introducing my colleague in Secure Way, our partner, Mr. Jan. We are talking about the part 2 about this webinar. Mr. Serkan, I think you can start now. Mr. Serkan, you can unmute.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for introduction, Ahmed. I hope you have said something nice. If not, this session has been recorded. We will find out. Well, my name is Serkan Arslan. I'm the Sales and Business Development Director of Finexus, working in here more than 15 years. I would like to thank you for being with us, and I'm very excited to be with you as well. We want to introduce ourselves with a webinar and talk about upcoming ISO 20022 migration and customer security framework updates, as we know that it will be critical next year. We believe Egypt has very strong and dynamic banking infrastructure and role model for surrounding countries, and therefore we would like to get in touch more frequently to create a positive synergy. Our agenda will be following. I will start with brief company and solutions overview. And later on, we have slides for upcoming ISO 20022 migration and possible challenges. With our partner Secure, we go into Swift customer security framework topics. And later on, we'll have a Q&A sessions. Please feel free to submit your questions. We can answer them after the session is over. Let me start with Finexus. Finexus is almost 20 years in know-how in financial payments and AML compliance industry. Along this journey, our aim is to transfer our knowledge and expertise into our products to provide secure and effective financial messaging and tackle financial crimes and risk with AI-powered solutions. We operate in 3 different countries. Turkey, Istanbul is our headquarters and development center. UAE Dubai is a support hub for Middle East, and recently we have extended our services to Qatar Doha. Now we are here to start fruitful relationship with Egypt community and expand our business to North Africa. That being said, Finexus offers AML compliance and financial messaging solutions, either on cloud or on-prem. As of today, we have made more than 250 product implementations and reach more than 150 clients in 29 countries. And we are more than 50 people and expanding day by day, giving 24/7 support with Swift certified engineers. In fact, we have the largest Swift certified headcount in the region, where you can double check from swift.com. But we didn't achieve this success alone. We have a strong collaboration with Oracle and Microsoft, where we present our solutions on their cloud, and a long-lasting partnership with Swift, almost 15 years old now. For the digital onboarding requirements, we are offering Amani, a solution with Amani, and for the CSP consultancy, we are working with SecureWay. Let's continue financial messaging solutions. Finexus offers a wide range of software solutions and data processing services to Swift users. Financial messaging portfolio has 3 different products: Paygate Maestro, Paygate Search, and SDK. Our flagship is Paygate Maestro, as it's designed to be a payment hub, multi-tenant, channel agnostic, advanced financial messaging solutions, which includes built-in Swift GPI support, ISO 20022 conversion, case management for exception and investigations, reconciliation capabilities, automated mail sending capabilities, and very flexible workflow engine. When we consider our other integration capabilities, we can go up to 90 or 95% of STP rate for incoming and outgoing traffic. Just imagine how much time and effort you will save when you reach this automation level. For reporting and archiving requests, we offer our Paygate Inspector application. So, sorry for that, Paygate Search. And it's for Swift and RTGS. A reporting archiving tool with almost no retention period. You can create your own custom reports from interface directly, and you can deliver them as a batch or via email. For SDK library, we are offering our SDK component, which is embedded to core banking for banks and vendors. From compliance perspective, we offer all-in-one end-to-end AML solutions powered by AI in order to assist financial institutions to meet their AML compliance requirements. Our focusing on the AI is first through these false positives by learning from human experience and decisions, and furthermore to take anomalies which cannot be caught by conventional methods. We offer 3 AML solutions. Paygate Inspector is our sanction and PEP screening solution for client onboarding and ongoing batch screening for existing customers. Thanks to our high-performance matching engine, we can receive milliseconds responses from public or private sanction list, where you can screen any payment infrastructure, either Western Union, MoneyGram, Swift, or RTGS. If you'd like to do a real-time risk scoring besides the sanction screening for initial customer acceptance at onboarding stage, we are complementing Paygate Inspector with our KYC solution. Our transaction monitoring solution, Paygate Analyzer, collects all customer information data from the initial risk scoring and day-to-day transactions, and create intelligent profiles to compare with the transactions pattern within dynamically created peer groups to detect anomalies and deviations, and creating alerts which can be managed by case management application of Paygate Analyzer. So slowly, let's slide to our main agenda. We know by November 2022, CFD is going to migrate current MT standards to MX standards for Category 1, Category 2, and Category 9. This will be the start of transition phase, which lasts 3 years, where MT messages and MX messages will be both accepted in the network. After 2025, MT structure will be phased out. So why is this switch so significant? ISO 20022 aims to enhance the payment process by making data more consistent, structured, and richer to be in line with digital trends of digitalization. It's richer because it will allow us to add more details by means of customer-related and address details, and many other fields capabilities has been extended to provide frictionless payment journey. It will also improve end-to-end consistency. Since it's XML-based, it's more structured by native and will have dedicated fields to enter relevant information. And it will also improve accuracy. So what will be the other benefits? We expect increase of interoperability among client-based channels, a faster payment reconciliation for cash flow management, advanced compliance within the information participants in the payment, a higher efficiency with the structure and richer data. We believe MT/MX migration will have huge impact on the operational services in the banking industry through the migration process. Today, our core banking applications and other connected solutions, such as middleware systems, reconciliation applications, AML screening applications, and many other components, may not be ready for this big change. We know how straight-through processing is critical for correspondent banking. We sometimes fight with minutes, seconds, and we have almost zero tolerance for friction or delays in our flow. To overcome those challenges, you will need a conversion solution to support existing high SDP rates and not impact from huge transition phase. A solution which can provide a custom mappings for message enrichment and rule and schema validation. To overcome, we have developed a Paygate converter tool, and it's officially released. We are ready for full functional POCs, but we will talk this later on. So let's slowly jump into message composition. Left pane shows a classical 103 message, where there is a limited space for everything. We know so well that we utilize at the maximum. The basic header, where we put our big code. Application header is where we define the message type and the receiving party big code. As a user header, we are using the block tree. And block 4, which is here, is we call a text block, where we enter the message itself. Well, ISO 20022 in MX is more complex. First, there is SwiftNet headers and request payload embedded with the application header. And MX message instance, which is business content, is presented as a document. Let me just give you an example so that I can explain in a better way. So this is a very simple one-to-one translation from MT103 to PEC-08 from our converter tool. Actually, it didn't fit the presentation slide, and I have to divide into two slides. So I'm gonna show the first part, and then I will just show the rest. And as you can see, there is a field for everything in MX. So let me just explain item by item or field by field. So this is our big code, and now in here it's our financial institution's ID. And this is the message type, which is called, this is the message type, which is called PEC-08 in here, and normally it's MT103. This is the receiver bank code, which is called financial institution ID now. And this is our reference number, which is called business message identification, which is in here. And this is the UHR number, which is also in here. And as you can see, there are other fields representing the PEC-08 message, which is a proprietary to MX. And as you can see, this is the amount and value date information, which is converted to here interbank settlement amount. So the field, as you can see, the field information are changing. So in MT message, we say 32A, right? So for when it comes to MX message, we're gonna say interbank settlement amount, and currency is here, and the settlement date. And another one is the cost, which is the charging information, which is shared in here, and it's like this. So it's a bit complex. It doesn't meet the eye, but there are a lot of fields where we can enter all relevant information. And I'm continuing. And for example, for the 50K, so we call in here like intermediate, agent, and debtor. So now 50K is going to be debtor. And we have some additional lines for here, address line, where we can enter these details item by item. And we have 53A, which is intermediate agent big code. And we have the 57A, which is the creditor agent. So everything is mapped from this to MX. So the thing is that MX is going to be more richer, but we have to be ready for that. The main concern is not the conversion. Actually, we can convert, but the thing is that the validation is very critical, because when we switch to MX in November 2022, the Swift is going to validate all messages when it's sent to PEC-08 or PEC-09, depending on the message type. It will be validated against MX schema, not MT. So you will have to make sure that you don't receive NAC. So what else has changed? I think besides the technical infrastructure change, the business terminology also is going to be different. I think it will take more time to get used to. With ISO 20022, ordering customer or beneficiary terminology will be used as creditor or debtor. We'll hear agent, which means a bank who executes movements of funds. Party, a client bank initiating or receiving a payment. And also, new parties are introduced: ultimate debtor, ultimate creditor. This is very critical for the compliance perspective. Ultimate debtor and ultimate creditor comes into play when there are parties are involved in the background. So within the MX, now we are being introduced with new parties. So let me just explain what are they. Basically, ultimate debtor is used when the receiver of the invoice is different than the payer. And ultimate creditor is important when the creditor has a client whom benefiting this transaction. And rest, actually, we know it didn't change that much, so we get used to using these fields, but within the new MX structure, we'll be using more ultimate creditor for the compliance purposes. Let's have a look another example. I guess this clearly shows the difference how much the information can be entered between MT or MX. In classical MT message, we have 35 by 4 lines to give all customer information. So basically, these are the customer information: street name, building number, flow, address, and everything. Well, we never use probably a building name or floor because we don't have enough space to enter. That's the main problem, actually. And they are not structured. Yes, there are options to enter a structured way, which is called 50F. But again, the field information is limited. So within the MX, when we fully utilize, we will have up to 7 lines to enter address information. And we will have plenty of space where we can enter each customer details in separate fields: identification, address, name, whatever we can retrieve from the customer. There will be enough space to enter these information. I guess I'm now more understood when I'm saying that it will be richer data. So there's another example from the 103, field 70, remittance information, where we have to squeeze critical data, like these invoices, and in a very unstructured way. ERP systems needs to understand this. How? Of course, with the custom mappings. Maybe it is done for each business types and systems, where it is hard-coded, and to understand or interpret these fields to provide relevant information. In MX, we'll have separate fields for invoice information or payment data, or more space to enter each item. And all these fields will be repetitive so that we can enter more information. I know it doesn't meet the eye, but it will be more structured, and you will have more accuracy in the payment chain when we fully utilize the MX. Again, in fields 59, with a beneficiary customer details named Mr. Cuba Gooding, may create a hit in a sanction screening. Well, because the Cuba is a sanctioned country. Well, once investigated, probably it will be flagged as false positive. But the thing is that in the sanction screening applications, since we don't know if the customer information is giving as name, because there is no static map. So the system is going to check against a sanction list, and since the Cuba is a sanctioned country, it will create a hit. But that's the problem that we are facing today, and these kind of issues are causing many false positives. However, in the structured PECO 8, since there is a special or there is a dedicated field for customer name, the system is going to screen the name against the names in the sanction list. So basically, we will be eliminating all other information, and we will check in against Mr. Cuba Gooding for a name. And if there's a match, it will create a hit, but probably it won't create a hit from the Cuba. And I guess that we will save too much time. And we know that how compliance officers are handling these cases in a detailed, and they are spending a lot of time to analyze it. So probably they will be now, after migration, they will be concentrating on other important stuff. So what will be our life after the migration? Probably this is a scenario that we can have where an instruct bank will receive an empty message from the originator bank because of the bilateral agreement, because of the originator bank does not support MT. But as an instructed or intermediary bank, we may have to convert it to PECO 8. So we have to be ready to make a conversion on the go. Now this is, we might really face this in upcoming 3 years, because it's basically as an intermediary bank, because of the bilateral agreements, we have to do M to MX conversion or MX to MT conversion, M to MX, so it could be vice versa. We have to do it, and we have to be ready for it. So what else has changed? We know today we are using X characters code set, which is the information that we get used to within classical MT. But when we fully utilize the MX, we will have a support of special characters like these, or that exclamations and parentheses, percentage, and other information. Well, the beauty of the MX, it will be supported. But during the transition phase, when the message is converted from MX to MT, well, we have to use full stop, because the thing is that still the schema validation will be empty. So basically, a converter system needs to convert this data as well, so that it will not receive an ACK. So we have to be ready about as well. And as Swift said, that there will be phases for this migration. So we're expecting at least 3 phases for this big migration. In the phase 1, Swift says that the CPBR Plus board has defined these message type to be converted to MX. So basically 103 will be PAX 08. 202 or 202 cover will be PAX 09 with core and cover. And 200, 205 cover will be PECO 9 again. And new MT 103 return or 202 return will be PEX 04. And there will be MT 210 for camp managed camps, camp T 057, 900, 910 will be camped 054, and 902, 900 will be camped 60, and others will be. So basically, everything you want to learn about the conversion will be published in the Swift My Standards page. But as a Finexus, we are ready to help all the customers in the Egypt region. So basically, we have ready-made solution, and after the session, we can have a talk about how we can help you with these challenges. And in the second phase, the phase is a bit more simpler. We will support 103 STP and 204 and 104 as well. These are the equivalent ISO messages. And phase 3, we will have cancellation request 192.292 as a CAMT 056, a cancellation request. And queries will be turned to CAMT 027 or CAMT 087. And queries answers will be as well. So let's discuss how we can help with this challenge. Since we have limited time left, I'm not going to dive into much details, but we can offer a fully functional demo after the session, and we will happy to explain the challenges and technical difficulties of this migration. We have developed 2 versions. One is a standalone converter solution with integrated to your middleware through the API to provide simple transition phase to our customers. And solution which can provide custom mappings for message enrichment and rule and schema validation. And also we are offering a module on a Paygate Maestro to enrich your payment messaging and to have a HTTP rate, which is an embedded solution that we can just do a simplest conversion through the incoming outgoing with our Paygate Maestro payment app solution. This is a timeline of Paygate solutions. Basically, we're in the now Q4 of 2021. And we have started this journey in 2020. And we have made our preparations. And now today, I'm proud to say that we have finished all our migration and all financial solutions are supporting MX in natively, and we can present our converter tool to Egypt market when you're ready. And in 2022 Q1, our sanction screening tool, Paygate Inspector, will be ready as well. And at the end in November, the migration will start. So we are ready when you're ready. And now I'm doing the closing sessions. Thank you for being with us. And I'm leaving to Mr. Ahmed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sarkan, for your presentation, and we would like to thank you too much for this beautiful and useful presentations. أحب أنوه لو حد من السادة الحضور عاوز يسأل سؤال أو أي حاجة فإحنا تحت أمره. Khadija, can we open the Q&A session for Mr. Sarkan presentation?
I think we should check out the Q&A session after Mr. John's presentation, as we planned. And we can give the mic to Mr. John if he's ready.
Okay.
Okay.
We can delay our Q&A presentation, and we introduce Mr. John from Secure Way, is our partner for CSP, and the mic for yours.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, Mr. Ahmed. Thank you for being here, attending this session. My name is Hasan Can Tarakçı. I'm one of the founders of Secure Way, and today I will be presenting you about the Swift Client Security Program and assessment details. So we have an agenda with describing the overview of Swift CSP, about the framework, and for the assessment timeline and the requirements for the independent assessment, which came into play this year. And we will be having a brief look at the architecture types of Swift infrastructure, and about Service Bureau, what is a Service Bureau and how you can benefit from it. and the mandatory and advisory controls of the SWIFT CSP for upcoming 2022. And finally, we'll end up with some details about SecureWay and what we do. So the customer security program is aimed at making you secure against cyber attacks. Maybe you all have heard that there have been some incidents throughout the world using SWIFT infrastructure. So SWIFT came into play and presented some rules that each client should obey. And beginning from 2021, the rules began to change. So the CSP came into play with strict requirements. So what is CSP and what is CSCF Framework, Customer Security Controls Framework? It's based on three major objectives like secure your environment, know and limit access, and detect and respond to cyber incidents. And it has 8 principles built on these objectives. You should be restricting internet access, segregate critical infrastructure, which is SWIFT, of course, in our case, and also reduce attack surface and vulnerabilities to any SWIFT and SWIFT-related components. You should also be physically securing the SWIFT environment and related components, infrastructure, and prevent compromise of credentials. Also manage identities and segregate privileges like LSO, RSO, and other stuff. About detect and respond, you should detect anomalous activity happening in your systems and transaction records. And finally, if and when an incident happens, you should be ready to respond. So these are the controls. And under these 8 principles, there are 31 controls out of it. Some of them are mandatory and some of them are advisory, which we will dig into details. And I will not go into all these details, but these are some of the, let's say, breakdowns of these controls. Like you see, it's touching lots of different vectors like environment protection, restricting of access, system hardening, vulnerability scanning, maybe penetration testing as well, logical access control, staff screening process, database integrity, and cyber incident response planning is one of the key components of these CSCF. Well, when we look at the timelines for self-assessment, I think some of you might have done so far because we're approaching the deadline, is the 31st of December. You should be, let's say, presenting a self-assessment report, which until the end of 2021, you should do it on yourself. So you do a self-assessment and submit to SWIFT, and it was all okay. But when you look at the details, the self-assessment will not be possible beginning from the new year, 1st of January 2022. Okay, but we've been doing so far so good. What has been changed? So what should we do different now? There are 3 different ways of assessments. That we used to do is called self-assessment. We were doing it, and by the end of this year, we'll still be able to doing it, but it will be reported as non-compliant beginning from 2022. And we are also doing community standard assessment, which includes both parties like internal parties and also external parties like we are, CSP assessors. And also the SWIFT mandated assessment. This is done just for the SWIFT-related parties like service bureaus and other important players in this game. In summary, all users are required to perform their first community standard assessment, if not done yet, by the end of this year. And it is also mandated by SWIFT that all mandatory controls have to be independently assessed. So what is independent assessment? Let's say, you might say. Well, independent internal assessment, it's split into two. So independent internal assessment can be done by an internal audit department, which can be, let's say, justified that they are really independent, or a compliance or risk management team in the bank or in the financial institute. And also there are independent external assessment organizations like us. We are focused on cybersecurity and international credentials, and that we can provide CSP assessment for the clients. Well, okay, we'll be doing an assessment, but first things first, we should be knowing or deciding our architecture type. So Swift provides us an, let's say, table or decision metrics document for that. So I will not go into the details, but when you follow this document, it's easy to see where your infrastructure fits in. So depending on your infrastructure, the requirements will change. There are also, I mentioned about service bureaus, and like Finexus is a service bureau as well, providing service to their clients. Service bureau is an institution that helps you mitigate or takes away the burden of having security or infrastructure in place and providing these services to you independently. So they're being assessed by Swift as the SIP program, Shared Infrastructure Program, in detail, so your data and your services are safe with them. And you might also think that it's not a part of the CSP process, and we're not auditing Finexus or other service bureaus. Well, coming into the mandatory controls. So you see, depending on your architecture, there are some minor changes or minor differences in the control requirements. Most of them are same for A1, A2, and A3, but differences begin to swell in A4 and B. So depending on your infrastructure, you will be responsible for all these mandatory controls. When we come into the advisory controls, and the thing with the advisory controls is that this year's advisory controls most probably will become mandatory in the next year. So it is wise not to ignore them, but take your time and put it into your, let's say, improvement list and work on them. Because next year, when they become mandatory, it might be too late for you to act, because you might be requiring some, let's say, budget and procure some additional hardware or software, and which might not be possible in a short time frame. Well, we're doing the assessment, and we're doing our assessment on-site and remotely due to the pandemic. How we approach, we check your documents, policies and procedures, and we do interviews with the related teams, the IT teams, the business owners, and even the physical access for the data centers as well. We observe your processes, and we work with the teams and do inspections on your configurations. And depending on the existing status, we do our reporting and provide recommendations. What it's not there, but after recommending, if you also would like to have an in-depth or detailed support from us, we are ready to provide the consultancy as well to implement how to do these recommendations and implementations. Well, coming back to us, SecureWay is a security-focused company. We have offices in Istanbul and Amsterdam, the Netherlands. So we are focused on financial security like PCI DSS, We are also a QSA company accredited by the PCI Council, and also an accredited CSP company by SWIFT. And we have internal and external auditors for ISO standards, and also have international, let's say, certifications for our team members. We take it seriously that we have all these credentials in place. Apart from these, let's say, credentials, we provide vulnerability analysis and penetration testing. We have the technical teams in place as well, apart from the compliance side. Also, we have development capabilities with static code analysis and secure software development lifecycle consultancy. Apart from consultancy, we provide some security solutions which fit in our, let's say, portfolio of services and compliance advisory topics. And they are NNT Change Tracker for security compliance of SWIFT, PCI DSS, and other regulations. Also, Ground Labs for sensitive data discovery, PII data. Archon for privilege access management to secure and use as a jump server to your secure environment. Cynet is our XDR solution for autonomous breach protection. It not only detects the anomalies, but also remediates all these attacks instantly. GovernID is our privacy and compliance solution. And we also provide industrial control system security, and we have various tools depending on your sector. If you're, let's say, critical infrastructure or an energy provider, you will have different requirements. So we cannot do all these things without our partners, as Mr. Serkan said. So we have a couple of partners. The major ones are displayed here. I'm proud to have Finexus here on this list. So we're partnering with like international players like Micro Focus, formerly HP, IBM, and also Starlink Middle East and Starlink Europe. So we're providing a wide range of solutions to our clients. And if you may have any questions about CSP or how you can be compliant or anything that requires cybersecurity topics, then please feel free to reach out, and we'll be happy to help without any expectations. So hope to hear from you, inshallah. Thank you. Mr. Ahmed, I think you're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. John, for your beautiful presentations. It's very, very nice. And I think now we're ready to receive any questions and inquiry from our audience.
Maybe we can open the microphones and they can just ask. And we can answer them. It will be more better. I mean.
So I can organize this session. If there are any questions regarding these topics, the guest can just raise hands from this button, and then I will unmute that guest for to receive his or her question. And actually, Mr. Serkan, we had a message, and Mr. Mohammed just wrote that kindly we need to know the role of CBPR related to the ISO migration. I think you just write back as a message, but can you give more details?
Well, cross-border payments reporting is a community. It is defining the schema of rule validation of the MX for SWIFT. So when it comes to MX, because if you are in the Eurozone, there's a target 2, which is also migrating to MX. But for cross-border payments, CBPR Plus is defining the schemes and rules validations in the framework. So that's why CP Plus is very important for us.
Okay, thank you. So are there any questions for CSP as well? We are waiting for your answers and requests.
I think all of our, let's say, attendees have submitted their CSPs for this year. So great, fantastic.
I think so. I saw one person has raised hands. Did you? Am I missing?
Let me check. I haven't seen that on my screen yet. Can you please just pass me the name?
Well, I saw Mr. Walid just a second ago. I don't know.
Mr.
Okay.
Walid,
Mr. Walid has a microphone.
I have mic issue. Okay.
So maybe you can just type it in the chat box.
I'm just allowing Mr. Walid's mic.
Or maybe you can type directly to the chat box.
Yes, mic is enabled. Thank you for your presentation. I have a question related to ISO 222. There is a ready-made interface for core banking with the Swift Alliance interface?
Actually, we have developed a solution which can be either on standalone, which can integrate to the core banking via API, and another module which can be installed on top of Payget Maestro. So depending on your needs, we can have a fully functional POC to explain how our solution is, because the thing is that we have limited time, so we didn't put a demo, but if you like, we can just have another session and deep dive all the technical details and show you the product or the service itself and talk about how we can just make it forward.
What's about the budgetary of this product?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I didn't get that part.
Can I know about the budgetary of this product? API?
The budget? Sorry?
Yes.
Well, the thing is that for the budgeting purposes, I mean, actually, it depends on the number of messages that you have. Currently, we have band levels and the consultancy. The thing is that let's talk with a face-to-face with another session, because it's not easy to give a budget right away.
Okay, is this APIs or integration can support T24 application?
Well, no problem. The thing is that T24 is a core banking application. And so we can just we have done it, by the way, before. We can just put our services or the solution integrate with the T24 by means of API. Or if it's requested, maybe we can develop a custom solution for support MQ. So how is your current Temenos integration? Is it through the API or MQ or flat base? So it may change because.
But you support all of these types?
Yeah, yes. Technically we can support, but initial design with API. We think that it is more flexible, but again, for the integration, because we can go to tailor-made solution with our customers. So basically we can discuss if your infrastructure is supporting MQ only, we can talk about it as well.
Okay. Can you send a brief of this product?
Sure. We will have we will send the slides and the product information after the session is over.
Thank you.
No problem. It's a pleasure for us. Any other questions? What we can do is we can just receive the questions via email, and if they want to do another session or if they want to talk on one-to-one, we can just have it. Why not? Right? So,
yes, sure, Mr. Sarkan. We really appreciate your informative presentation, both of yours and Mr. Jan's. So we can have your questions by email, or you can connect with us via LinkedIn. We are always active on LinkedIn. And I will pass the mic to Mr. Ahmet for the conclusion. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm asking all guests to thank you for your audience, our first webinar in Egypt. And I wanted to conclusion our ISO, Swift ISO, this will be mandatory for next year. And we can share our presentation after this webinar. Also, we can going to ready to one-to-one or face-to-face meeting with other banks to be more details about the ISO and for the CSP informations. I will share our, sorry, I have a bad network quality now. It's okay now?
Yes, we can hear you, no problem. By the way, if there's a bandwidth problem, you can just turn off your camera and maybe you can talk.
Maybe. Yes, I said it's okay now.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So I will share my contact and will share the company contact for. Serkan, you wanted to say something?
Oh, thank you again for participating, and we really appreciate your time. And inshallah, we'll start doing business together because we are prioritizing Egypt in 2022. Hopefully, to work with you, and have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day.